What's up, you amazing people? I hope you're having a fantastic day. You are, of course, watching and listening to the Daily Dirty 30, also known as the DDT, here on The Kevin Lee Show. And I'm your host, Kevin Lee. Now, for those of you who do not know what the DDT is all about, let me take a moment to explain. You see, it's a show that airs live at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and it's where I get to spend 30 minutes telling you, the viewer, all about the things that bother me today. What do I get out of it? That's easy. It's cathartic. Why should you tune in? That's even easier. It's entertaining. Sound like a fair trade? Good. Let's get to it. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Dirty 30 here on The Kevin Lee Show. I am your host, Kevin Lee, and today is Monday, August 3rd. Actually, I had to think about there for a second. And we have lots of things to get to, but first off, I want to remind everyone that today is Monday. And what does that mean? Mondays are usually down days for most people, but I want to remind you that if you can learn to appreciate a Monday, there ain't nothing that can stop you. So you should probably work on that. That being said, let's get right into it. We've got multiple topics to cover today, and none of which is any less important or more important or something important, I don't know, than this guy right here. Might recognize him, maybe, maybe not. That is James Hetfield. James Hetfield, who is the lead singer, rhythm guitarist, and founder of Metallica, turned 57 today. That's right. He was born on August 3rd, 1963, and he was born in Downey, California. I'm sure most people who are hearing this right now or watching this will understand exactly who I'm talking about. If you don't, what's wrong with you? Anyways, he has a birthday. He is 57. I always think like he's so much older, and I don't know why. And we're going to get right to that right now, because if we hop over here, you're going to see we have some more pictures. So this is the Cowardly Lion version of James that was back from, I don't know, around 1990 all the way through, I don't know, mid 90s, closer to late 90s. Here's another version of that as well. Bam. He was probably somewhere in his 30s at this point. This is the Black Album. Actually, it's not true. I started with Injustice for All, and then it went to the Black Album, and then we had a whole bunch of other albums. Not sure if you all know what they are, but they're there. I recommend you look them up if you don't own one. They're on, or even just go on YouTube and watch the videos for crying out loud. Good music, good stuff. Here's a third picture. This is more of the mature 40-year-old-ish version of James Hetfield, probably even mid-40s. Yeah, so this is him having a good time, rocking out, and finally, we've got Grandpa Hetfield version. This is him more or less nowadays. Now, for those of you who may not know, James Hetfield actually checked himself into a rehab again. God, I don't know, sometime last year, was it? I don't even know. 2020 has screwed up my perspective of reality to levels I can't even explain. Okay, I remember like when I was a child, right? And then maybe like when I first got married and had kids, I kind of remember that phase of my life. And ever since then, everything is 2020. I swear to God. So, but yeah, this is James Hetfield somewhere, like I said, around now, probably around 55 years old. Still having a good time, still rocking out. God bless him. But yeah, so that's his birthday. If you go, actually, I don't know even know if he has any official, to be honest with you, any official social media. I think he used to, maybe he does. I don't know. But if you're so inclined, why don't you go on, reach out, see if you can find one of his, I don't know if he's got Twitter or maybe he's on Instagram, wish him a happy birthday. Or even do it tomorrow and wish him a happy belated birthday. Why the hell not? But changing speeds here a little bit. That's a happy news to start off on a Monday. Let's get happy, right? Good thing, celebrate someone's birthday. Someone's still alive and kicking. That's a good thing in our day and age. But we should probably change course a little bit. And now we're going to talk about something a little bit more of a downer. Sort of. Well, I guess actually, I take it back. It is a downer. And that would be this. Lord & Taylor and Men's Warehouse, apparently I don't know how to spell, both file for bankruptcy protection. It doesn't mean they're going out of business. It just means that they're filing for protection so creditors can't come and sue them and take everything they own. But it doesn't mean that they're not going out of business either. And the reason why I bring this up is because these are two of the largest national chains, and they filed for bankruptcy protection. And this is leading many people to start wondering who is next, right? This has been something where ever since our economy took a downturn due to the whole COVID-19 issue, a lot of people are like, well, who's going to survive this? Who's going to make it out on the other side? Who's going to prosper like Amazon did? But who's actually going to make it? Are there companies like Best Buy that are maybe going to make it? People need to buy stuff. People need to do all this online streaming at home. So maybe they're going to sell a bunch of equipment. Maybe they'll make it through. Grocery stores are obviously going to be okay. But your average mom and pop, stores, are they going to make it through? Are your little online stores? So I've actually mentioned this before, but I think it is important for me to mention again. Most people don't realize that nearly 70% of all businesses are small businesses. In fact, over 50% of our GDP comes from small businesses, and I believe it's closer to 65%, give or take, at least the last I checked, of people employed in the United States are employed by small businesses. And it's important that we keep these guys afloat. We can't afford to have too many people on unemployment. Otherwise, everything gets topsy-turvy and turned upside down, and golly knows what's going to happen. So, that being said, I have an article for this. I do. Bring it up for you so you can see. So, Lord & Taylor, Men's Warehouse, owners file for bankruptcy. It says for bankruptcy, but really it's for bankruptcy protection because they're filed for Chapter 11. Because they were already kind of struggling, I think, before all this began, right? And then and at least in Lord & Taylor's situation, I know they had closed some stores already. So it's not like that big of a surprise that they're filing for bankruptcy. But just imagine this. I don't know where you live. I don't know if you're in the United States or if you have any large malls by you. But here in the United States, we have several large malls. I actually happen to live not too far from one of the bigger ones. And this is one of the flag stores. Right. I don't know if they call them flagship stores or flag stores. I don't know. But it's one of the big stores inside the mall. We have like Sears. Or we did. I don't even know if Sears even exists in the mall anymore. We used to have Marshall Fields, which now became Macy's. There's just Lord & Taylor was one of the big ones. And, looks like that might be going away real soon. So I'm not saying this is a sad thing, but, you have to start wondering and worrying. This is the point we're at. We're now in August. We're in August of 2020. The election is now, not that far off. 3 months away? Almost to the day, right? 3 months away. What kind of world are we going to be living in 3 months? Now, I know you can say, well, that's 90 days. That's nothing. Is it, though? This is 2020. You've heard of dog years. Now we have 2020 years. And a week is like a month. A month is like a year, right? So 3 months is almost like an entire presidential term. So we'll see what happens, before November 3rd. But things are really not looking good. If there's, companies that have been out there for as long as these companies have been out here for, Lord & Taylor's been here for quite some time. I don't know if it actually has any more details in here. Didn't read through a company was founded actually as a dry goods store in 1826. Think about that. Lord & Taylor, which is absolutely mostly clothing, a little bit of housewares, things like that, but almost, exclusively clothing, but was formed nearly 200 years ago as a dry goods store. Because you know what? That was the need. And over time, they've developed into more clothing. Maybe they can survive. Maybe they can restructure and become something different. Who knows? But it makes it for very, very interesting topics. Okay. So enough of that depressing stuff. Let's get to some more depressing. I'm just kidding. Not really depressing. Not really depressing at all. Not as far as I'm concerned. Next, we're going to talk about this. Nancy Pelosi needlessly, and it really was needlessly, attacks Dr. Deborah Birx, but she wasn't expecting Dr. Birx to fight back. See, what happened is they had a closed-door meeting at the White House with the task force and some of the leaders, like the leaders from the House, the Speaker of the House. She was in attendance. And apparently, Nancy Pelosi found it necessary to reach out and take a swipe, not physically, but metaphorically speaking, verbally speaking, at Dr. Deborah Birx, basically telling her that she thought that she was more or less a shill and that she was just doing the bidding of the White House and she shouldn't be taken seriously because she can't be trusted. That would be Dr. Birx. Now, I don't know if you've been watching or had watched any of the original White House press conferences on the COVID task force, but Dr. Birx always spoke her mind. She seemed to say things that were sometimes, that were not necessarily contradicting President Trump, but most definitely would be things that you could tell that they weren't necessarily on the same page, but she was going to say what she was going to say. And whatever you think about President Trump, whatever you think about Dr. Birx is honest to herself, and she was honest to the public. Now, sure, you can bring up her husband all you want, but she's not her husband. Her husband might have done things that some people do not like. It's not for this conversation because we're not talking about him. We're talking about her, and she has spoken her mind. She has never backed down from the media that I've seen, and she said things that were absolutely 180 degrees against what President Trump was saying. So if she is willing to say that in front of him at a press conference, how can you dare say, as Nancy Pelosi, I don't know where that where that accent came from. That was pretty awesome. I should try that again. But yeah, I don't know where she gets off acting like Dr. Birx is just some pushover, and that Dr. Birx has been quote unquote spreading disinformation about COVID-19, to favor President Trump. She's done nothing of the sort. Many times she has said things that were against what President Trump was saying. And, it's really hard to not like Nancy Pelosi, because I don't like Nancy Pelosi. And it has nothing to do with the fact that she's a Democrat or she's a liberal. She's just dishonest. She's just a person who seems to be willing to do whatever she has to get votes or to look like she's caring for other people when she really couldn't give a rat's ass about them. But yeah, Dr. Birx on Sunday, strongly defended her record amid criticism from White House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, when Nancy Pelosi said that she doesn't have confidence in the White House coronavirus task force handling of the pandemic. And the thing is, even then, even after these swipes, even after Nancy Pelosi went after Dr. Deborah Birx, she still took the high road, which is something to be, she should be commended for, because she could have just gone out and called Nancy Pelosi exactly what she is. She could have called her out and said, this is what you don't know about Nancy Pelosi, and could have just laid it all on the table. But she didn't, because this is not about her. And she knows it's not even about Nancy Pelosi. It's about America. It's about getting back to good. It's about everything and anything to do with those subjects and those subjects only. She doesn't want this to be about her, nor should she want it to be about her. Unlike Nancy Pelosi, who wants everything to be about her. I'm not picking on Democrats here. There's some good Democrats. There's some bad Democrats. There's some good Republicans and there's some bad Republicans. Unfortunately, we don't have enough of the good Republicans and the good Democrats currently in office. So if you think of yourself as being a Democrat and you are a good person in your mind and people tell you you're good, maybe you should run for office, and vice versa. If you're a Republican and you think you're good and you've got good things to bring to the table, maybe you should run for office, because the people we have in office right now aren't doing crap. In fact, they're doing worse than crap. They're hurting us. And because they're playing these childish games, just like what's going on right now. I mean, Pelosi, I don't know what angle she's coming at. I know when she was recently voted, not recently, but last election 2 years ago, when she was voted to take over the speaker position again, she basically said, I'm only going to do it 2 years and that's it. And then someone else is going to take over. I'm thinking she's angling at trying to keep this position going into next term. As long as the Democrats hold the House, and I don't see why they wouldn't. I don't see the Republicans taking it away from them. In fact, I think the Republicans honestly are very much in danger of losing the Senate, to be honest with you. And before you sit there and tell me I'm crazy, just think about it. Do the math. This election, on November 3rd, there are, I believe if I remember correctly, 12 Democrats who have seats that are up for vote. So they could lose their seats, 12 of them. That being said, I'm pretty sure it's 23 Republicans who are up for re-election. Right now, the Senate has not done well, not by the American people. They've left us high and dry. They've decided they don't want to vote. They don't want to work at, getting all this stuff taken care of and making sure that Americans have, food to eat and a roof to keep over their head. They're just decided to, I believe originally the Senate wanted to go home. I haven't officially heard if they actually have or if they're still in Washington. Kind of heard mixed reports about that. That being said, the Senate is led by 52 Republicans. I can't keep track. And I think it's like 46 Democrats. So that being said, it wouldn't take much to swing the Senate into the favor of the Democrats. So if they can make the Senate look bad enough, and those 23 Republicans, if the Democrats can hold on to their 12 seats and just win like 4 seats, they take over the Senate, essentially. So there's that. If you're a Republican, that should frighten you. And if you're a Democrat, that should encourage you. But that said, I think Pelosi's playing games. Pelosi needs to get her head out of her ass, grow up and act like the 80-plus-year-old woman she actually is. So I think she's 80s. Is she 80s or she's 70s? I think she's 80s. And again, she might be a fine person if you're related to her, if you know her. Maybe if she's your sibling or your mother or your aunt or whoever, your cousin, maybe she's a great person. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. All I know is what I see on the TV and in the news and what she says. And she said some pretty atrocious things lately. She's tried to rename COVID-19 and blame it on Trump, call it like Trump-19 or whatever it was. I mean, just some really cockamamie things. And for those of you who don't know what cockamamie means, you should probably look it up. So again, Nancy Pelosi, Dr. Birx been having it out. Dr. Birx defended her record because let's face it, Dr. Birx and President Trump have not necessarily been on the same page. Her and Dr. Fauci mostly have been on the same page, and many times they've come to, disagreements publicly with President Trump, and they've supported, President Trump because President Trump has happened to take their advice. So again, take it for what you want, but this was a weird time for Nancy Pelosi to be taking swipes at Dr. Birx, unless there's something coming out that we don't know, which I doubt, but maybe there was something said at the meeting. Who knows? Maybe something came about and people realized like, oh crap, we might be starting to lose our hold on this if this information gets out. So let's try to, make her look bad first and then go from there. That could be too. That might be. I mean, only time will tell. Yeah, there you go. So back to the grouping here. We're about halfway through, and actually we're about halfway through, so that's good timing. Next, we're going to talk about something, probably the last potential. I don't know if it's the last for bad news, but it's something that I think we need to talk about. And that would be this. In Portland over the weekend, protesters began to burn the flag, the American flag, as well as Bibles. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are hearing that and going, who cares? Who cares? They're allowed to. It's their First Amendment right. And you're absolutely right. It is. They have the right to burn the American flag, and they have the right to burn whatever book, as long as it's their property or what have you. They have every right to burn it. Well, to an extent. I mean, obviously, you don't want to have everyone burning things in public spaces where they could cause fires, but beyond that, they actually have the right to do it. That's not the problem I have with what they're doing. The problem I have is why they're doing it. So apparently, this started on Friday. On Friday, they decided to start a fire in which they took a severed pig's head, placed it on the ground, put a police officer's head on it, draped it, I think, in an American flag, and set it on fire. So that was like, phase 1 of the burning plan. Phase 2 began, again, I think it was Saturday. They again decided to burn an American flag after starting a fire, but this time for Kindle, they started using Bibles. And again, they have absolutely every right to do that as long as it's their property or they own it or what have you, or someone gave it to them, and then they have every right to burn it. I get that. My qualm with the whole thing is why wouldn't they have the courage to burn more than just the Bible? See, by that, what I mean is, you don't see them grabbing copies of the Quran and burning it. Why not? Honestly, I think this is a pretty simple open and closed book. They know that your average Christian is going to see you burning a book, and they're just going to lower their head, shake their head a few times, look at you, maybe give you a look of disgust, maybe even anger, and then they'll probably go and pray for you. That's what they're going to do. The average Muslim who sees you burning a Quran may not have the same reaction. Now, they might have the same reaction, but it's more of a crapshoot if they're going to be not happy, but okay with it, or if they're going to get angry about it. Because let's face it, there are a lot of people who happen to subscribe to that religion currently around the world who, don't take kindly to either someone insulting, Muhammad or Allah, the God, that's what they call God, or burning their Bible. And, I perfectly understand it. Someone of a faith, I understand why they would get upset about it. Like I said, most Christians, they're not going to lash out at you. They might give you a speech. They might tell you how they feel. They might tell you how that makes them feel. They might try to have a conversation with you. They might just walk away and discuss. But ultimately, what they're mostly going to do is pray for you. Probably not going to be your typical reaction from a Muslim, and they know that. Now, that's just a timing thing, mind you. I bet if you 1,000 years ago did burn the Bible, or 500 years ago burn the Bible in front of a Christian, you'd probably get a punch in the face as well, or what have you. But we've had more time to kind of get adjusted to the whole disrespecting the faith. Muslims haven't, because it's not nearly as old of a religion. So because of that, perhaps some people might get more physical or angry with you. And I think that's why they are being wussies. They just don't have the courage to stand up against people who are actually, fight back or say something to them. And that's kind of the point. It's like, here we are, 2020, there's enough going on, right? We've got protests, we have riots, we have a pandemic going on, we have an election going on, we have everyone ready to jump at each other's throat like that, right? No questions asked. Why poke the bear? Like, why make things worse? I mean, maybe because you think everyone's busy, you can get away with whatever you want. I mean, maybe that's all that this is. Maybe it's just a bunch of people who are childish and don't want to grow up. I don't know. So here's a little snippet of, I'm not going to watch it, but just, peaceful Portland protesters burned Bible and flag 24 hours after torching pig's head in a cop hat. I mean, are they doing it for shock value? Is that why they're doing it? Are they doing it because they're just terrible human beings who just want to insult and disrespect as many people as possible? Are they just out there to be agitators? Are they, are these people paid protesters, or they're just trying to agitate people into having them act out violently to then, make a particular group look bad? Is that what's going on? I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you, because I don't think anyone knows. And if they do, they're not talking. All right. But it's just a sad commentary in our world today. It really, really, really is. There's no need for it, really. But you know what? That's the end of the bad news. End of it. We've got another good story coming up. Don't believe me? Watch. Next, we're going to talk about this. The XFL. Now, again, I'm not, I've talked about this before. I used to be huge into sports. I've kind of gotten out of sports. After this last football season of the NFL, they started this XFL. And it was actually kind of interesting. They were doing some fun things. People were getting interested. And then the whole COVID-19 thing hit. They stopped the season. There was too much money extended out by these teams and the owners. So the league started to collapse, and basically it was over, right? We're not going to come back. It's too much money. But there is someone to the rescue. After a strong start to the most recent attempt to revive the XFL, COVID-19 cut the season short and then folded. But now The Rock, yes, that Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has come to the rescue, actually with the help of another group as well. Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Danny Garcia buy XFL for $15 million with Redbird Capital as partner. So they've got these three people. So they've got these names, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Danny Garcia, backed by the Redbird Capital partnership. And then that's the thing. The XFL only costs $15 million. Really? To me, that's shocking. I mean, yes, they're not paying the players much, but still, I mean, you think just everything involved with it would cost more than $15 million. I mean, to me, $500,000 would be a ton of money. But when you're talking an entire sports league, $15 million, that's crazy. But apparently that's all it costs. And it says, I guess it's official now, because it says the XFL has been sold to a group that includes former WWE star Dwayne The Rock Johnson, giving the bankrupt football league the kind of star power that may draw even non-sport fans. And I hope it does, because let's face it, we need distractions. And the XFL is not someone who would necessarily take themselves too seriously, right? But yet they still try to put on a good product. And I think the first time they were around many years ago, it was kind of a whatever. This time around, they really put some thought into it. Things really seem to be looking to be working for them. And then, of course, with COVID-19 came and hit, cut the feet off from underneath them. and they didn't have a chance to make the money they wanted to. They didn't have a chance to finish their season and have a championship and kind of get all that excitement going. They're too afraid to carry on, so they found some people to take it off their hands, and hopefully Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Danny Garcia and the Redbird Capital. Hopefully they're able to put enough money behind it, get enough sponsorship, get enough excitement with it, and maybe next year or whenever, probably, I think they would probably start in the after the Super Bowl, so almost like spring time. Hopefully by then we can actually have normal sports again. Who knows? But maybe if that's the case, that would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. All right, 26 minutes. Yikes. See how fast time goes. We have another story already. Another one. And that story would be this. It says, and now more proof that Illinois has lost its mind. On Sunday, Illinois State Rep. LaShawn Ford held a press conference imploring the state to stop teaching history until we can rewrite it. I know that sounds like I'm making that up, like it's a made-up headline. It's not. It's real. It's actually very real. In fact, so real, there's actually an article you can look, and there's a whole video. You can watch it if you want. We're not playing the video, but this happened. The press conference was held, I believe, on Sunday. Yeah, on Sunday, in Evanston. And this is what Ford said. Remember, he's an Illinois state representative. He said, we're concerned that current school history teachings lead to white privilege and a racist society. I'm just going to let that sink in for a second. I'm going to read it one more time. We're concerned that current school history teachings lead to white privilege and a racist society. Yep, he actually said this. And he's an elected official in Illinois. Oh, goody. It says Ford met with local leaders in Evanston Sunday, calling on school districts to throw out their history books and instead focus on civics and teaching students how to be part of a democratic process. I agree with that last part. We should be teaching civics, absolutely 100% across the board, along with history. Yeah, so yeah, that's disturbing. Yeah, it's a little disturbing. If you ask me, I don't think I don't know fully what's in this gentleman's mind. I don't know why he would think this would help, but he literally wants us to go back to school in the fall, like in a week or two, whenever your school starts, take all of your history books and throw them away and refuse to teach history until we have the chance to rewrite it so it's less racist. I mean, if you want to correct a handful of things because you think they're not accurate, that's one idea. But if history is history, then it is what it is, and we shouldn't be rewriting it or correcting it because that just doesn't make any sense, does it? I don't believe so. Not at all. But look at that, ladies and gentlemen. We're already almost at 29 minutes. You know what that means? It's almost time to get out of here. Before we do, I just want to take care of a little bit of business and remind everyone that just in case you happen to find yourself in the market for a new mask, because let's face it, COVID-19 probably isn't going to go anywhere for quite a while, and we're going to be stuck having to wear masks. So if you need to buy one, let me recommend one of mine. Go over to thekevinleeshow.com/masks. That's thekevinleeshow.com/masks, and it'll bring you to this page. This page will show you exactly everything you need to see. So on here, we have 3 different masks you can choose from. One says the Libertarian Hour, one says the Daily Dirty 30, and the other one is just the plain The Kevin Lee Show logo. To give you a better look at them, this would be the Daily Dirty 30, this would be the Libertarian Hour, and this one would be the Kevin Lee Show. So just thought I would put it out there and let everyone know. And if you want to find out any more information about myself, the show, or anything about us, or find a way to contact us, or find our social media, or just any other means of interacting with us, please head over to our website, which is thekevinleeshow.com. Now, that is it for today, but I want to remind you, today is only Monday. We still have 4 more days in the week. It means 4 more shows. What am I going to talk about tomorrow? I don't have a clue. I guess I'll figure that out after I wake up. But until then, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night, a good rest of your day, whatever time it may be, or if you're listening to this on a podcast afterwards, any other day of the week, I hope you're doing wonderful, and we'll see you all tomorrow.